I saw a 40-foot naked woman.
You're suing for $505,000.
It takes a lot of force to break a femur. I tell you, this country is going to hell in a handbasket.
We're going to have order in this court.
Now he presides over some of the largest claims in TV history. This is Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Morgan versus Jolly. Mr. Morgan, based on the documents you filed with this court, is my understanding that you are suing Miss Jolly for injuries that you sustained when she smashed into you with her car while you were working. You're asking this court to award you past and future medical expenses in the amount of $140,000, lost wages of $20,000, pain and suffering of $345,000, for a total award of $505,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Jolly, you believe that this is not your fault because Mr. Morgan did not take proper safety precautions.
Yes, Your Honor.
True?
Yes.
Let's get into the legal sauce. Mr. Morgan, tell me about the day that you got injured.
Well, Your Honor, I'm a billboard technician. I work on and repair video billboards. I've done this for about 3 years. I enjoy being up in the air. Even as a kid, I love being outside, climbing trees, climbing to the top of jungle gyms. It's something that I love to do, which is why I chose this career. With what happened to me, Your Honor, I can't do this career anymore.
Ms. Jolly, you remember this day?
Yes, Your Honor.
What led you to the incident that brings us here?
I was on my way coming from church, and I was going to take my grandson to his baseball practice. Your Honor, you need to come and visit my church, because when you come to my church and you hear that choir, you're going to think the angels done come down from heaven themselves. How the Spirit just be moving. It's moving. And you know,
I need prayer and I cannot sing, so I appreciate that. So, Mr. Morgan, tell me how this happened.
I parked my truck on the edge of the highway. I own my own truck. I paid for it myself.
Okay.
Well, I got out the truck. I set the cones around the truck. I turned on my hazard lights. I got into the bucket. I raised the arm up to the billboard, about 2 stories in the air. And I pulled out my laptop. I uploaded the ad that I use on different billboards around the city. It was only up for about maybe 20 seconds when all of a sudden it felt like an earthquake. She hit the back of my truck. The basket flew violently and I fell out of the basket.
You came out of the basket?
I fell out of the basket onto the hedge and I fell to the ground. Your Honor, my whole left side was in pain. I couldn't feel my left arm. It felt like I felt a pop in my leg and it felt like the bone broke through the skin. I didn't even want to look down at it. And
so you're in this bucket. Now we've passed people who drive past this kind of bucket truck that you're talking about. How does a guy like you, as big as you are, come out of that bucket? It seems like it would be too high for you to get out of it.
The force that she hit my truck with actually made me fall out of the bucket.
Ms. Jolly, why'd you hit the truck?
I was on my regular route, so I know this route very well.
Yes, ma'am.
All of a sudden, this blinding, strong, flashing light came across my eyes. I couldn't see, and as I looked up, I saw a video image of a 40-foot naked woman. And I tried to cover my grandson's eyes because he's only 11. I didn't want him to see that filth, that nudity. And the next thing I know, I had careened into the back of the truck. My airbags exploded and my car is totaled. My grandson was screaming and
Was he
crying.
okay?
He's got a broken leg. He was holding on to his leg, and I was terrified, Your Honor. I tell you, it's only God that we're still alive.
This is the front of your car here on the screen.
Yes, sir.
So you knocked the lights out of that truck, didn't you?
I tell you, Your Honor, yes, but it was the lights. I couldn't see from the flashing lights.
She wasn't naked.
Yes, sir.
Well, did she have clothes on? I think it's a lot like being pregnant. Either you're naked or you're not.
She
was naked.
She had on bikini bottoms and it was just showing her back. That's the ad right there.
Is this the billboard? Is that naked or not?
No, this not naked.
That's naked for an 11-year-old boy.
I'm glad I don't have to decide that today.
Okay.
So Mr. Morgan, you're adjusting this or changing it?
I used this ad to test the color and to balance the panels. And like I said, it was only up for about 20 seconds. There were other cars that passed the same ad on the same highway that managed to avoid hitting a big truck that was sitting on the side of the highway.
The flashing lights were the issue. That billboard is dangerous and it's distracting. I'm surprised there weren't hundreds
She
of
was more
accidents.
concerned
Looking
about
at
the billboard,
naked
Your Honor, than her child.
Naked women pouring.
We're gonna have order in this court. Now y'all can't talk to each other. You gotta talk to me. I'm not gonna do that all day. Now, Mr. Morgan, here's what I want you to do. I know you got that crutch and your arm all messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Would you come over to the screen? You've submitted an exhibit to this court.
Yes.
I want you to explain how this happened. I need to know how you got out of this bucket.
I'll show you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Take your time.
Right.
Coming up,
I felt the shaking, and then that's when she hit the car, and I fell down.
Anybody that does this type of work high up in the air, they are required to have on a safety harness.
This court has consulted Dr. Carrie Treeple. The plaintiff has suffered a femur fracture.
We almost always have to treat them with surgery. If we don't, it'll lead to death or permanent crippling.
What a hotel.
Right? And only $250 a night for my favorite site. What?
You didn't check Trivago. Got mine for $155. You have to check Trivago.
Oh yeah? Prove it.
On Trivago, you can compare hotel prices from multiple different sites, even your favorite one. Look, same hotel, $100 less. You didn't check Trivago.
I didn't check Trivago.
Check Trivago to compare prices and save up to 40%. Hotel? Trivago.
Philistines are assembled.
Giant. What?
My king, I will fight the giant.
And one stone changed the course of history.
if the peanut butter in a Reese's could talk to the chocolate, what would it say? You complete me. Should we start a podcast? Who does your ridges?
First loves are important, but they're not as important as lasts. We're getting married. I'm sorry, what? When I'm with Jared, everything is easier. But everywhere I go, there's a memory of Conway. Life's too short not to spend it with the person that you love.
Experience the incredible true story of Clarissa Shields.
If I'm trying for this medal, I'm gonna eat exactly what the man gave.
It's way bigger than boxing. The fire inside. Rated PG-13.
I got into the bucket. I raised the arm up to the billboard, about 2 stories in the air. All of a sudden, it felt like an earthquake. She hit the back of my truck. The basket flew violently, and I fell out of the basket onto the hedge, and I fell to the ground.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, take me through this.
I was up in the truck, and this is the billboard ad that I used to test the ads.
Okay.
And like I said, I was 2 stories in the air, about 20 feet high. And as I was in the bucket, I felt the shaking, and then that's when she hit the car, and I fell down onto the hedge, and I fell to the ground, Your Honor. My whole left side was in pain. I passed out, Your Honor. I woke up in the hospital with a broken arm and a broken leg. I would not be here talking to you today.
Miss Jolly, do you see the kind of damage that your car caused?
It was the lights. It was the billboard flashing and moving. It
Your
was
Honor,
the image
Your Honor, may I
of a
crawl back to
40-foot
the-
naked
Yes, sir.
woman. It was inappropriate. It was distracting. It's his fault.
There were other cars that passed me on the same highway.
No.
So, Miss Jolly, what should have happened?
One of the things he should have had on, as I did my research, he should have had a safety harness on. One of these, anybody that does this type of work high up in the air, window cleaners, anyone else, they are required to have on a safety harness.
Do you normally wear a safety harness?
I do, Your Honor, but with this job, it was a quick fix. It was just a get up in the basket and get down. It was a quick fix. The problem is not the harness, Your Honor. The problem is she wasn't paying attention to the road.
Well, let me ask you something.
On the road.
We're going to have order in this court, and y'all can't talk to me at the same time. Now, Miss Jolly, you seem to know a whole lot about people in the bucket.
There was nobody on the ground to direct the traffic. There's usually flags going.
But didn't you see the cones?
That I could have even seen.
Didn't you see the cones and the flashing lights?
No, sir.
Why?
He should have had his harness on.
All right, listen to my question. Did you see the cones or the flashing lights?
No, because I was looking at the 40-foot naked woman trying to cover my grandson's eyes.
Next.
I don't understand. Why do we have 40-foot naked women up on billboards on the highway? I tell you, this country is going to hell in a handbasket.
Broken left arm. I broke my femur bone in my thigh, which is the worst type of leg injury to have.
Doctor, how do you treat this kind of injury?
We open up the top of the femur or thigh bone and ream all the way down the center of the cavity to the bottom of the bone.
You drill out the middle of that bone?
Yes, sir.
He should have had a safety harness on.
The problem is not the harness, Your Honor. The problem is she wasn't paying attention to the road.
Well, let me ask you something.
On the road.
We're going to have order in this court, and y'all can't talk to me at the same time.
What?
I don't understand. Why do we have 40-foot naked women up on billboards on the highway? I tell you, this country is going to hell in a handbasket. I don't understand.
Mr. Morgan, there are certain things you're supposed to do, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You
What?
told me that you put out cones.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you put your flashing lights on.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's to let drivers know that this is a potentially dangerous situation for them and for you.
I thought that's what they were used for.
Why didn't you put your harness on?
As I said,
Even for a quick job.
it was broad daylight, right?
Yes, sir.
So up in the truck, I was safe. The harness did not cause her to hit my truck.
Now, Miss Jolly,
Yes.
how fast were you driving? I mean, y'all didn't tell me this was a 4-lane highway. This sounds like it's a residential street.
The regular speed limit. I was on my regular route.
In looking at this animation, it looks like you're going at a pretty good clip when you slammed into the back of the plaintiff's truck. Now, the damage to your car confirms that you were going at a pretty good clip. Were you speeding?
I was not speeding. I would never speed with my grandson in the car with me. No.
What you have shown me today, in terms of what you believe, is that he should have put his harness on, and that would have saved him, right?
Yes.
But couldn't you have just gone to another lane? Because it seems to me that your eyes should stay on the road and not on that naked woman.
But Your Honor, I was covering our grandson's eyes to protect him from seeing that vision, that nudity.
Mr. Morgan, you've asked this court to award you past and future medical expenses in the amount of $140,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me about your injuries. You told me about your leg snapping. I see your arm.
I brought x-rays for you to see for yourself today. I have the broken left arm. I broke my femur bone in my thigh, which is the worst type of leg injury to have. The biggest thing for me, Your Honor, is I now have a fear of heights. I'm afraid to get into my basket and go up and do the job that I was paid to do. And Your Honor, this is my career.
Yes, sir.
This is how I take care of my family. And I can't do that anymore.
Based on the medical records that you submitted to this court, you also are suffering from PTSD from this.
From the flashing lights of the billboard and looking up at the lights laying on the ground in pain, yes, Your Honor, I am.
Mr. Morgan, you've already missed 4 weeks of work and you're projected to miss 20 weeks. To better understand your injuries from a medical perspective, this court has consulted Dr. Carrie Treacle. Sheriff, will you get Dr. Treacle in?
Sure.
Doctor, thank you for coming today. The plaintiff has suffered a femur fracture according to the medical records that he submitted to this court. Can you explain what that is?
The femur is the strongest and largest bone of the body. It takes a lot of force to break a femur. Motor vehicle collisions are the #1 cause of femur fractures. We almost always have to treat them with surgery. If we don't, it'll lead to death or permanent crippling.
How do you treat this kind of injury?
As you can see right here, we open up the top of the femur or thigh bone and ream all the way down the center of the cavity to the bottom of the bone.
You drill out the middle of that bone?
Yes, sir. Then we select a nail that fits the length of the femur and we hammer it in, down, through past the fracture to the bottom. We place a screw through the top of the bone to stabilize the nail and also through the bottom. And this helps stabilize the femur fracture so that it can heal properly.
Will Mr. Morgan have that kind of rod in his leg the rest of his life?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Doctor. You are released. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Miss Jolly, I know you've told this court a number of times this is not your fault. Do you understand that this is a huge change of life for this young man?
Your Honor, yes, but he's not the only one that got injured. My poor grandson, he can't even go outside, let alone practice, poor kid.
Verdict is in.
You put up evidence that you're in your truck, it's a quick fix. You put out your cones, you put your flashers on, you think everybody's been warned, you go up to change out the billboard. Miss Jolly runs into your truck and flips your life upside down. It's amazing you were not killed. Miss Jolly, you were trying to protect your grandson.
Yes.
You also think that Mr. Morgan should have protected himself by putting his harness on.
If you feel held back by the weight of navigating financial decisions,
The fastest growing internet provider in the Northwest.
She hit the back of my truck, and I fell out of the basket onto the hedge, and I fell to the ground.
Anybody that does this type of work high up in the air, they are required to have on a safety harness.
I think I've heard what I need to hear. I'm ready to run in my decision. Folks, this, like every other personal injury case, has a certain structure to it. You as the plaintiff, you've got to prove 3 things. You've got to prove that Miss Jolly was wrong, that her wrong caused your injuries. Your injuries are undisputed, and I won't address that, but I've got to decide whether she's responsible for it. Here, you've put up evidence that Miss Jolly tried to protect her grandson, but did not protect you and ran into your truck despite flashers and despite cones, knocked you out, and you have severe injuries, permanent injuries. You believe Miss Jolly should pay for every penny of that. Miss Jolly, you believe that Mr. Morgan is responsible for his own injuries because had he had the harness on, this never would have happened. He simply would have been bruised in the bucket. Well, that collision of the evidence raises several things. First, both of you have an opportunity and a responsibility to look out for yourselves. Miss Jolly, you made the choice to protect your grandson and not to protect the people that were outside of your car. Turns out it probably was the wrong choice, and you have to live with the consequences of that. I believe you have proven that Miss Jolly is wrong and caused your injuries. But Miss Jolly, I believe you have proven, you've shown evidence that Mr. Morgan should have had that harness on. That raises the last legal principle of last clear chance. Under the law, even when someone's negligent, and you have an opportunity to save yourself from their negligence, such as the harness, and you don't save yourself, you have the last clear chance, and when you don't save yourself, you are responsible for the consequences. Here, in comparing those two acts of negligence, I find, Miss Jolly, that you are 60% responsible, and Mr. Morgan, you are 40% responsible. Because you are 40% responsible, I'm not going to award to you everything that you've asked for. You've asked this court to award you $505,000. I'm going to reduce that by your responsibility of 40% and award you $303,000. In your favor, against Miss Jolly, that's my final verdict, and this matter is adjourned.